Welcome, guys, to the second part of this podcast about the E3. This is our E3-Special Part 2. Last time we talked about, some of the press conferences. I'm Sammy, and with me here is Raith. Hey.
What's up?
What's up? Raith is currently out of city. That's why he's. You will hear him a little bit. How should I say it? A little bit. He's not as noisy as you may remember.
Thank you, very nice. I'm
a
little bit more incapacitated.
No, he's just out of the city, and that's why his setup is not the same as usual. You may hear that, but it's still fine along the way. We're going to talk about the second part of the E3, which was Ubisoft, Sony, and Nintendo. The press conferences, respectively. And after that, I think we will talk a little about how we thought the E3 was in general, how this year's E3 left an impression on us or not. And I think we are ready to kick it off.
Let's go.
First we got Ubisoft, but here's the thing now. There was another press conference. It's called the PC Gaming Show, and it had nothing to show. Like, literally. They were on stage, and this is the thing why this makes me really sad, is that last year they had a lot of stuff to show, and it was really cool. They had Doom, they had all different kind of PC games. This year was, it was underwhelming. They had nothing. I think in the end they had Warhammer 2, and no, it was just Garbo. So we're not talking about the PC Gaming Show. There was nothing to talk about here. So we are starting off with Ubisoft. And Ubisoft, they came on stage and they started off with this, kind of surprise, because we knew beforehand that this is going to be a thing, is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And here's the thing about Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I'm not a huge fan of the Rabbids, unfortunately. I don't like their humor. I don't like them. I think they look a little bit stupid. Maybe some kids can like them, but I'm not so much into them. And that's way more... That's unfortunate for me, because I thought the gameplay looked really fun. It kind of reminded me of XCOM, the strategic battle system. But it's with rabbits. This is why it's a huge letdown for me. I don't know. It just didn't look. I don't think they fit in the Mario franchise, and I don't think they are funny at all. So this is not that game for me. Not that big of a game for me. But yeah, Man, I'm just looking at the picture with Mario with that cool Mega Man Buster, and I think, like, man, this should be an awesome game. But maybe it is an awesome game, but I really can't play it.
I don't care about the rabbits either. So, and then again, there's so many other already good games with this gameplay already, that, if you want XCOM, play XCOM. So
yeah, of course, yes. Play XCOM if you like XCOM. Yeah, of course, sure.
No, because the gameplay really looks similar to a lot of strategic RPGs that are already out, and I don't know if just moving Mario into every genre that exists is really that helpful. So
well, I wouldn't call it helpful, but I would call it
marketing.
Well, in every genre, it's a little it can get a little tiring, but in this particular case, I think it's a cool idea. It's XCOM with a Mario paint on it, which I think I think the whole Mushroom Kingdom is just really a cool place to show that, because it's so colorful and it has so many different things, and it looks nice. That you can do it, but really the rabbits are the killer for me here, to be honest.
Yeah, and for me, the whole Mario thing is kind of unnecessary. just thinking about other good games which are so similar in that style. For example, Worms
Mm-hmm.
or Hogs of War, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool and still haven't got a remake. I mean, give me a new Hogs of War anytime over this.
Uh-huh.
I rather take my picks
Or a
than this rabbits or
very cool
Mario.
new or a very cool new Worms. A very good one, please.
Yeah.
How about that? I didn't see a good Worms game in well over a decade now.
Yeah,
So
but look at even Hogs of War. That was really popular in Germany, which
yeah,
got
yeah.
its own title, its own humor, and seeing this toned down version, which Mario always implies because it's family friendly. I really want another game like Hogs of War, which is just much better and much more unique.
All right, so yeah, Mario and Rabbids aside, I want a new Worms games. I want a new Worms games. Yes, this is starting off perfectly fine today. Man. Okay, so the next thing that we wanted to talk about was Skull and Bones. Now here's the thing. We were talking the other day about Sea of Thieves, right?
Yeah.
And how much I liked the premise of Sea of Thieves. Now this, a friend of mine yesterday told me that he thought that Skull and Bones was just looking a little bit like Sea of Thieves, but more like Assassin's Creed, that pirate Assassin's Creed. Can you help me here? I have no idea.
Yeah, Black Flag, I think
Flag,
it was.
Black Flag, yeah. It looks more like that, but sea battles only.
Yeah, it didn't really catch me. Had this Pirates of the Caribbean look,
Yeah.
but after Assassin's Creed Black Flag, you know, just
I mean
water
the
battles don't interest me that much.
yeah, yeah, water battles, man. These suck. Here's the thing, Skull and Bones, man. I think the gameplay, the segment that they were showing looked fine, but it didn't struck me that much. If you think about Sea of Thieves being a thing and it's arriving soon, finally soon, I really don't need this game right now. And I think Sea of Thieves has a lot more charm to it. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I
Well,
don't think.
whether you like it or not, you have to admit that Sea of Thieves has a much more unique look to it.
Oh yes. Way more unique look, and actually for me it's way more striking. It's nailing that way more much. So in this particular case, we had Skull and Bones, and it looked a little more realistic than Sea of Thieves. It doesn't have that cartoon charm, but I like that cartoon charm a lot. So I don't know. Skull and Bones didn't strike me that much.
Yeah, just look at this E3 in general. Almost all games look like real life, have the same tone to it, same watered down colors. So remember, these are games. These can be as ridiculous as possible sometimes. They don't need to be all the real shit. I like that real shit. I really do. But in games, I don't need only this one kind. I mean, in real life, I watch live action television and I watch anime. And both can be different and both should be different in style and tone. And games can have both of these styles. So
yes, they can have a unique style to them, and that's why both can work in some cases and another. And in this particular case, I think going with a more cartoony, charmy feel is just the way to go. Instead of this super realistic, I'm playing like I'm in a movie kind of feeling, is not the way to go. I wanna be more in One Piece instead of Black Pearl or anything. You know, this is just my feeling. I bet there's some people out there that say no, Skull and Bones look way more interesting. But from what I've heard now, from many sources is that it doesn't have that leaving a impression right now.
Yeah, well, considering what games came before, this just is so. It feels so much like the same shit that's already out there. That's just not catchy enough. Maybe if we have more cartoony games, and after that something like this might catch more my attention. But right now it's just seen this shit, done with this shit.
Yeah.
Get me something else.
It doesn't feel that unique at all. That's the whole thing.
And we don't have time to play every of these games to compare them. We're going to take the one that looks the most unique of it.
Yes, that's true. That's so true. We're getting older and we have way little time now. Just like now. So let's move on from Skull and Bones to... Okay, now we had a big one. In the end, it finally happened. We got a trailer from Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's finally happening, and holy cow, it struck me out of nowhere, and I was in shock. I mean, that trailer looked amazing, but we didn't see any gameplay, and we didn't see a release date, so we can't talk a lot about it. We can only talk about what we saw, and what we saw was a little movie which looked fine, but there wasn't really much to it. I think the name alone, that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is happening, I mean that alone is crazy enough to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I never played the first one, but just looking at the difference, the first one had once again a more unique feel to it. This one looks kinda more like a Pixar Disney movie as trailer, and without gameplay, I can't form much of an opinion. Because this has to appeal to new fans as well, but...
Of course, it has to appeal to new fans, because the first one, here's the thing, the first one wasn't played that much from so many people, and it was a flop when it came out. It wasn't selling enough. That's why Beyond Good and Evil 2 is happening now, instead of a decade ago. So here's the thing. I betcha they will, once the game comes out, they will have a remaster of the first game ready to launch.
Of course.
Because and maybe they will have a box with 2 games in them. So I think it will be fine if you didn't play the first one, just like me, to be honest. I only saw glimpses and parts of it, and I get why people are excited about the franchise. And I think they can do something very cool with the second part, but we will just have to wait and see. And I betcha it's going to be next year until we see maybe some gameplay, or maybe they will not be there at all next year, and it's going to be 2019 when they finally arrive with a new trailer and gameplay. So much like with the other titles that didn't came this E3. So that's the whole gist of that. Beyond Good and Evil 2, really cool that it's coming, but there's not that much to talk about right now.
And to be honest, this feels like copying Sony, for example, with Shenmue 3. Like, they see that these games now work, that you can kickstart them. When, if you remember, Shenmue 3 was kickstarted and then got additional financed by Sony.
Yes. So
this retro trend is already going strong anyway, and it feels like you can, push old franchises that never really took off now, because the whole situation changed how people get to it and how people can help out with creating it. So I'm not against jumping on the bandwagon. I mean, if it turns out to be a good game, it's good for the fans of the original game to get a sequel.
Of course,
but it makes me wonder if all companies now try to copy that effect.
Well, I wouldn't say so, but I thank you for reminding me that Shenmue 3 is still a thing, because it was missing the C3 too.
Yeah, it was just announced that it will be pushed back by the creator. But then,
Oh, okay.
but in
I didn't hear
that
about
case, I'm like, you know how old Shenmue is? You know, waiting a few more months or 1 year more for Shenmue 3. I think the fans that waited already so long don't really care that much anymore.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I don't think they care that much, and there's already this argument about if the Kickstarter money was even good enough for the game, and if Sony is giving them that much more to finance the game, so it's really awesome in the end. But we will wait and see. I still have high hopes for the game. Here's the thing: I don't think that it's copying or people are copying that kind of thing that Shenmue 3 does, or that many games did before, where it's hey, it's a decade ago, it's 15 years ago. We have this franchise that we finally wanna bring back, and you wanna see it too, right? Hey, yeah, cool, and then everyone gets hyped. I think that's constantly happening every time, every year.
Yeah,
This is not something that
many franchises that used to be not that were critically acclaimed but just didn't sell well enough. Look, last year, Last Guardian was finally pushed by Sony, and it came out this year. I feel like that's happening much more in the last 2 years than it did before. Resident Evil 7 gone back to the roots was like a combination of Resident Evil 1 and 4. So I don't know. I hope it's not getting too much. And I honestly thought Resident Evil 7, for example, could be more original than it was.
Yes, it could be. And here's I don't think they're going with that kind of idea that we just listen to the fans only, and okay, you waited for this game 10 years, okay, here that's it. And
what company
I
will
think
do
what
that?
they are going to yeah, but I think what they are going for is just try to live up to expectations, and maybe maybe we have a passionate team behind it that we say, hey, we all want to do this project. We're all down for it. It's not only you fans, right? And I think in this particular case of Beyond Good and Evil 2, I think that's what happened.
Yeah, we wait and see.
Yeah.
Without
I
gameplay, judging this is hard.
Yes, we can't judge at all. So I'd say we move on to the next thing. So here's the thing. I left out a lot of things from Ubisoft press conference because there was not that much interesting stuff for us here. There was Steep, which was just a DLC for Steep. I didn't even play the original. There was Transference and the Crew 2. I really don't see anything that was interesting there. I don't even know what Transference wants to be honest. So I'd say we move on to the next press conference, which was a big one. It was Sony. And on Sony's side, now I'm giving a quick overview of the details that they dropped, and after that we can talk about the games that interested us, just like the last part. And here we had the Uncharted DLC, Lost Legacy. We had Horizon Zero Dawn, Frozen Wilds, which was DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn. Days Gone got a gameplay trailer. Monster Hunter World was announced. Shadow of the Colossus PS4 remake. Then we had some PSVR bullshit. The Impatient, Bravo Team, Skyrim, Fallout, you know them. We had God of War, a gameplay trailer, a new one. Detroit Become Human, a new gameplay trailer from that, because this is the thing. I don't even want to call it gameplay trailer, but fuck it. And in the end, we had Spider-Man. Okay, so these are quite a bit. Let's just talk about the DLCs first. So Uncharted is getting a DLC, and Horizon Zero Dawn is getting a DLC. I don't know if Horizon Zero Dawn deserves a DLC. I don't know, but from what I've heard, it's a good game. and I can't judge that because I haven't played it yet. I don't know if it deserves or it should get a DLC so soon, but maybe it does. I have no idea. In Uncharted's case, I think Lost Legacy, man, I'm so not interested. I've played Uncharted 4, and it was all about Nathan Drake and his last adventure. And I really don't care about these women doing whatever. So I think this DLC is just not interesting enough.
Well, to be honest, it felt very gay, and I don't have a problem with it being gay. It just feels like the obvious cash cow. And I never was interested in Uncharted. I always every part of it seemed like the same before, which it essentially was. And people praised it for its presentation, but then again, I can go to the cinema and watch I don't know, an old Indiana Jones movie, you know?
We don't really have to do that debate now because this is just a DLC, and about how much of a video game is Uncharted, because I think that Uncharted is a video game, in fact, but it has very much of a movie, and it's a mix from both, and you can hate it or like it or whatever, but the most of the time it's done great things for me. I think they had a high replay value, but that being said, the fourth one I have played one time and never touched again. Maybe it wasn't as striking as good for me as the parts before, because I was replaying them a lot. And yes, in this particular case, we had the Lost Legacy, and these are the two women, and I just don't know. I discussed this with a friend yesterday, and we were both agreeing on this is not needed and this is not necessary. It's just something for the fans to just have something when they have the game, and I'm not looking forward to buying this, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm now going to rewatch Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, you can totally watch that too. Yeah, awesome. Maybe Indiana Jones is getting a game, but not this year's E3 because this is done now. Horizon Zero Dawn is getting DLC. We just talked about that. Days Gone, we had a gameplay trailer, and I dare to say it was another gameplay trailer because we had one last year. We just didn't have a release date. This year we had a gameplay trailer, and we had no release date, but we had a time slot for beginning of 2018, which is fine, I guess. And I still don't know what to make of this game. It looks okay, but it looks like a game that we have seen in so many facets over the last years.
That's what I wanted to say. That's exactly what I criticized in the last E3 podcast. That it all looks the same. It all has this feeling of The Last of Us. The same look, the same style. There was only one thing which I thought was interesting, is when he moved beyond the fence, created fence by this enemy group, and he put a bomb on it to explode the fence, and to so all the undead would run into this enemy group. And I thought that's kind of extremely asshole thing to do and kind of interesting. It was the only really interesting thing about this whole trailer.
I thought that was really cool.
And if they make more of it and make it a real gameplay feature where you can sneak on enemies and just pump all the zombies onto the enemies, that would be really interesting.
Yeah. But there's not going to be that whole much of it in the game. You know, that you can totally see that's a thing that was going to occur a few times. And that's what's disappointing for me also.
Yeah, but we don't know that yet, and that would be the only saving grace for me if they make more of that features. Because that would something be unique that wasn't done too much. And especially the amount of zombies we've seen. But then again, that makes me wonder, how is humanity even surviving with these fast, massive zombie armies, this zombie hound we saw in the end, and like, how is humanity
also,
still a thing with all of this, you know?
Yeah. They can even run these fucking zombies in this game. But, you know, I would live with this game way better if I knew it was a spin-off to Last of Us. This is the thing. But as a standalone, a different game that just looks like Last of Us and kind of plays like it, I'm not too fond of it, to be honest.
Something that also totally pissed me off is you see in the beginning how he rides his motorcycle and then he gets attacked and he flies off the motorcycle. Yeah. He's pinned down by guys that beat him up, and then he gets free and kills him. And I thought, you just have fallen off your bike. And that's the first thing. How do you even fight them off? And then they don't even attack him with knives or something.
Yeah, they didn't do anything.
And like, you're in a post-apocalyptic world and you're trying to rob someone. Get a fucking knife and kill him instantly. Because he did it.
God, man.
He got his knife out and killed them. Yeah.
And that, I mean, these guys were set on easy. And then the guys he snuck up to felt so stupid and they didn't even see him.
Yeah, that was the next thing.
I was immediately thinking if this was Metal Gear Solid 5, they would have seen him in the beginning when he walked when he walked there. Like, this was bullshit, man.
Yeah, that pissed me off. Exactly when he was at the camp and he took off one of the guys, and I thought, hey, you should see that. This is in broad daylight. The guy just knocked out one of
them. I dare to say that one of them even looked at him directly from the camp when he was strangling that dude. Like, it was so bad. Man. I mean, this could be both, right? This could be a spin-off to fucking Last of Us. It could be an apocalyptic Uncharted. It feels like a mix from both, to be honest, and it feels not unique enough. It feels like some games mashed together,
and that's what I mean.
More of the same.
You can't even guess its identity. It looks like so many things, but just not its own thing.
At its announcement last year, I was like, "Oh, cool! That's Last of Us 2, right?" Oh, wait, what? What? It's what? Days Gone? Is that a DLC to Last of Us? What is this? Oh, it's a different game, huh? So, and I was wrong about the release date. There was no release date. There was not even a time slot. So yeah, looking forward to seeing this next year again. Thanks for nothing. Let's move on to the next thing, and it was big surprise. Finally, outside of Japan, we will get a Monster Hunter game, which is not for 3DS or Switch, and it's fucking Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, Monster Hunter. Never got into it really. Played a bit, but I know I have my hack and slay and collecting loot games, you know. It's just I think it's different word. You're either a Diablo guy or a Monster Hunter guy. Like, these are so different, sure. but the sense is the same. I get people why they would play it. Mm-hmm. It's just it never really appealed to me.
Mm-hmm. Did you like the manga from freaking what's the name of the author again?
Mishima.
The fairy, Mishima. Did you enjoy that?
Never really read it, but because why would I if I'm not interested in Monster Hunter?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I've never been that big into Monster Hunter. I've played some of the PSP games, and I think they were fine. But after that, I wasn't playing it for nearly a decade now. Now it's getting interesting to me again because it's not a fucking Game Boy game anymore. It's I just don't like the 3DS games. I think they look boring, and I just want to have a full-fledged console version of Monster Hunter. And finally, we're getting it, which just looks it doesn't look as outdated as the Switch game that they revealed. It looks like a very new Monster Hunter game, and maybe I will go back to the franchise now because this looks fucking amazing. And it's coming early 2018, which is really cool also.
But it's already out in Japan, isn't it?
I don't know about that.
Or is this a completely new game?
It looked like a completely new game, to be honest. But I wanna know now.
Yeah,
wanna know.
it's kind of with the Monster Hunter games, you never know. It's like Tekken 7 was out in arcades a long time now.
Yeah.
Before
But
it was
this
released.
is an arcade. This is an arcade fighting game title. Of course, it's out years before the home console release. So I'm just looking into it right now, and from what I see, no, this is the very first time the world heard of Monster Hunter World. Haha.
You're not
But yeah, this is
you're not making the obvious JoJo meme joke.
Zavardo. Monster Hunter Zavardo. Or Varzu. How do they say worlds? Like
Worlds?
the
The plural?
worlds. Yeah. How do they even say that in Japanese?
I don't think
Not
they
at all,
would
right?
say the plural itself. They would either just say the singular instead of the plural, or they use the suffix, so what comes at the end, Waldutati or something, to indicate that's several words. Yeah, no, I don't think Japanese would say that, because that's already sounding weird enough.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but the gameplay that they showed was fine, and I think it's going to be cool. And I like that it already has a release slot. Jumping on to the next thing, we had Shadow of the Colossus, the PS4 remake.
That they
Man,
even
oh
call
man.
that a remake is...
No, I wanna call it a remake because it fucking is. Did you play the original game
Yes.
or the remaster? So
The
this is a
remaster,
fucking
I
remake.
didn't play it. I watched the trailer and that looked pretty much the same.
Wait, please go back to the original game. I assure you it does not look the same. I played the
It doesn't look the same, but the gameplay doesn't look new.
Oh yeah, the gameplay is totally
Then
the same.
it's not a
Yes,
remake
of
for
course.
me. Then it's a remastered, but not a remake.
Well, if they scrap everything off and do a completely new thing, then it's not a remake.
Yeah, but the gameplay itself is the same. It's
Yeah,
the
well,
same game.
They can have the same controls, right? They can have the same gameplay, but they can still totally do everything from scratch, graphics wise. A remaster is when you take the original and you just make it look more beautiful or anything like that.
It's a
But
nice
in
wording,
this case-
but this doesn't... Final Fantasy VII, that's a remake. But this isn't a real remake.
Okay, here's the thing. Shadow of the Colossus already had a remaster on PS3, and it just looked a little better than the PS2 version. And in this case, you just have everything has been, the models have been done new, the fucking colossi, everything has been remodeled. So that's why it's a remake and not a remaster. When you just take the old stuff.
That's just minding words. To me, that's not an honestly remake. No additional content.
Oh, we don't know that yet.
And
We
I
know if
don't
there's
think
going to
it
be
was.
additional
And
content.
also, I don't think it was necessary. We already had the PS3 remastered version.
Okay, this is the one that yes, that's why I wanted to talk about it, is because is it necessary or not? Here's the thing. I think it looks beautiful, but I played the remaster and I'm not looking forward to playing this whole thing again. And here's the thing why. First off, the controls felt a bit awkward. I straight out need to say that the controls were a bit. I think whenever you were on the horse, it felt like you were steering a wheel, and the colossi, the boss fights were fine, but they just took so long that once you were finished, you were like, man, I'm done now. It's okay. It's fine.
But
now.
that was the point.
And I don't
want to
do all of this again. Huh?
That was the point of the game. Shadow of the Colossus is not a game that's supposed to have high replay value.
Yes, that's
And
why I don't know if a PS4 remake is going to fucking work with
who's
me.
gonna buy that? Those who didn't buy it with a PS3 are not going to buy it with a PS4. This is going to be only bought by the people that already like Shadow of the Colossus and want a version for a PS4. This is milking. This is hard milking.
Yeah, in some case, yeah, it is milking. I have to be on your side on that. I totally have to agree. But I can't. I need to stress out. This looks fucking amazing. If you've never played Shadow of the Colossus before and now you are maybe interested, then this is the perfect time for you to play it. But as you said, we had remaster, we had the original game, and why didn't you play it the last 10 years?
Just play your Call of Duty shit and shut up.
Come on.
Yeah, this
Shadow
is
of the Colossus.
when Shadow of Colossus came out, it was something special. I really believe so. I didn't play it when it came out, but I later got a version in London where I got it for good money. And I was stunned by this game. I really felt emotions, even though the characters don't really talk. You're all alone. But what the game made with me and making me feel bad, killing this Colossus, half of them don't even attack you. You're the one who first attacks them. You're the bad guy, basically. And I just felt so bad at the end of the game because you're trying to revive your dead girlfriend. That's not a spoiler. But you don't know her. Only the main character knows her. You don't even know if she's worth reviving.
Mm-hmm.
If this maybe was Zelda, you know.
Yeah, but this is in the same fact that you don't know in the very first Mario title, you don't know if Peach is worth.
And she isn't. After 20 years, she still isn't worth it.
But the game is still fun, right? So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but why have a story in the first place if it doesn't matter? You know.
No. I mean, it matters. No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the story does matter, but it doesn't have to matter for you in the first minute how important the girl is.
Yeah,
you know, you only need to know that for our main character, the girl is important. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, but the way you do it is different, and I wouldn't compare Shadow of Colossus and Mario on this one. Because what Shadow of Colossus directly does when you get to your first Colossus, it invokes so many emotions, just the size of the Colossus before you stand it. It's already different from God of War, where there's the size difference is there, but you have this crazy asshole guy as the main protagonist who kills everything. And in Shadow of Colossus you have this weak looking boy, we would say boy,
emo boy, yes,
with his sword and his bow, and against something that's not even trying to kill you. They're just there, like a mountain.
Yes. This is the one thing that really got me off this year in Shadow of the Colossus. These dudes do nothing to you. They're just there. They don't even fight. They don't want to destroy your world. They just want to live peacefully. And you come over and shoot an arrow to their knee. That's one specific part I didn't like about the game. But I think motivation-wise, it was doing a good job. It was just you have this girl, you want to survive her, you want to revive her, and that's it. You don't need much more, to be honest, as motivation in a video game. I think that's personally my opinion. But well, I've heard that opinion that from a lot of people that sometimes it's better to have more context. Of course, yes.
Do you know which is funny? We're all assholes because after we killed the first Colossus, we still killed the other ones, you know?
Yeah.
We didn't feel bad enough after killing the first one, but we were still just going on. Well, I still have to revive this girl, even so I feel bad. Which would be funny if they did an additional ending and, you know, after a certain amount of killing, you just go, okay, I can't kill anymore. You know, have an additional ending where Where
I want to have an additional. Yeah, I want to have an additional ending where it's like in the Yu-Gi-Oh manga, the very first duel between Seto Kaiba and Yugi, and it's a shadow duel. And once Seto Kaiba loses, he's going into his own card's graveyard, and all his monsters are waiting there for him and eating him alive. That was so fucking awesome. I want to have that in this game, an additional ending where you go to hell and all the Colossi are waiting for you, and they are like, why? Why? And they just fucking
rip you apart.
Yeah.
Okay,
but
no.
Japan Studio's not going to do that, right? So let's head on to the next thing. And it was, of course, God of War. And God of War got a new gameplay trailer. We saw a little bit much more of the story, to be honest. I think a little more than it needed to say. And
it just made it worse. I'm going to straight out say this is not God of War. This is a pile of shit. And okay. I'm going to tell you why. I haven't even really played the original God of Wars, but even me, this is pissing off, and that's just going to show how much of this game is. They're trying to redeem a character who you cannot redeem. Kratos is a guy that should never ever be happy again. This guy, after accidentally killing his family, did so many things. He did the end of the world without a hint of remorse. And now this guy is to train a little pussy boy.
I totally agree.
And
it's awesome.
So this is trying to be Last of Us. This is fucking God of War. This is a guy who killed everything on a whim. The only one he didn't kill was Aphrodite, who was there to fuck.
Okay, Wraith, I have a question. What if it wasn't God of War and say it was a complete relaunch?
Then it would be another
like
Last
the first
of Us.
three. The first three things games never happened, and this is just something completely a new universe, a new Kratos. What would you think about that?
Then it's Last of Us.
Yeah, right. This is what I thought from the trailer. Like, Santa Monica, are you serious? Are you going to try to make this kind of story because you never did before? And I don't know if you are going to manage to pull this one out. And with fucking Kratos, to say the least. So I'm highly skeptical, to be honest, of the story here. The first trailer last year looked fine to me, to be honest, because all you saw, okay, he has a little son. I don't care. Oh, he's going to the woods. He's going to fight this super big thing, and he's just as dumb and strong as he was before. Okay, looks fine to me. I'm totally down for that. But this new trailer is going to depict a way more serious story, which I don't want in a God of War game, and I don't think a God of War game needs so much intelligence, to be honest.
and this thing betrays everything God of War was. The whole tone. The first three games were quite colorful, bloody, but it was unique. This is again watered down colors, the same look. Like it looks like every game that's coming out right now. It doesn't have anything that makes it look special. And now it's going to shit all on Norse mythology. I mean, how is Kratos going to fight the world serpent? The fucking world serpent.
I like to because it's God of War. He can fight anything if he
wants.
But
it looks so small, and you have to think about what happens if he kills the world serpent. I mean, he already opened Pandora's box.
Wasn't the world serpent? The little kid was saying, wasn't the world serpent? It's going to help them or anything?
We don't know, but it does look like. I mean, it's Kratos. He's going to kill it eventually, isn't he? If he doesn't, it's not Kratos.
But by the way, I like how we are saying Kratos instead of Kratos. We can. This is the thing. We can't say the name right because we are Germans, but we're saying it
Yeah, the
wrong. And
thing is, of course, if you talk it about English, then it's just natural to pronounce his name how English
pronounce
would
wrong,
instead of the right way, which is Kratos. And I mean, I had 4 years of Latin.
Kratos.
Kratos. That's.
I'm totally. This is the thing. I totally agree with you. Like, I can't even say anything. This is stupid. This is the dumbest idea I've seen in a long time, and this is unfortunate because I think Santa Monica Studios are so cool people, and they can do so nice with action games that they are. I think they are it feels like they are forcing this on themselves, that they are doing something serious with the franchise. But dude, then just make it a whole different IP. And I think the idea is cool that they are going to be in another mythology now. They were thinking about going into Egyptian mythology first, but then they were like, nah, let's do the modern
I
first.
would actually have preferred Egyptian, because one thing Norse
me too.
mythology is done often enough, and second of all, the Egyptian gods have much more similarities to the Greeks, so that you would still have felt a connection, that you can, he's like that god and he's like that god, so you still have the connection. But well, you know, the funny thing is,
I think the Egypt would have been greater too.
Before the new trailer came out, I told you I hated it, and you were I don't know yet. And after the trailer came out, because I agree.
Yeah, because the first trailer looked like what I wanted from this game. It looked like okay. I didn't really care about the sun, right? He's just there. Okay, there's the sun. I don't care. But everything else, like the fight scenes, the thing with the forest where they hunted everything down, was cool. I think that was God of War for me. It was okay.
But I hated it at the first moment.
This new trailer is going a way more serious tone, and I'm just not into that.
Yeah, no, I hated it from the first moment on, and with that, let's move on.
Okay, yeah, let's move on to the next thing. And we had now it's a thing that I'm not really into. It's Detroit Become Human.
And I'm the opposite. That's actually one of the few games that looks interesting.
Wow. Okay.
Because I'm into that shit. I'm into sci-fi and into cyberpunk.
Me too.
Me too.
Yes.
They didn't really show much of gameplay at all, but just the idea, the philosophical question it tried to raise is like, I'm interested. I haven't seen much of it yet, but that feels unique and that goes an interesting way. And I really liked in the trailer how you have this one unique AI that kind of defies her orders and is free, and all of the other AIs are looking at her, I want to be free, I want to do the same, which really got me into this feeling sympathy for them. So I'm really interested how this goes. But basically, the trailer only established that you have this rogue AI. I say rogue, but it's just a free AI that roams the streets. And this game is, of course, trying to to tell us, when is the difference between an AI and a human? And can it be the same? Because she blends into the normal world. And the other androids are definitely always seen different from normal humans. But she was just with all the normal humans, and nobody noticed that she was an android. So that's probably one of the big themes of the game. And that's not something that's done new, but just the idea itself is always so interesting that I hope they can reach my expectations. But of course nowadays hardly any game.
Dude, okay, here's the thing, they won't. They definitely won't, because you know who's making this game? It's David Cage. And David Cage can't do shit with storytelling. I'm sorry, but this guy is a fucking fraud. He's and that's why I think this game is going to suck very bad. Is because He's doing the same things he did the last 20 years, where he's saying that we are going to move gaming to a next level, where there's no game over. There's the story is always continuing, whether you fail or not. This is what he did with Heavy Rain, but Heavy Rain in the end was a giant mess where you had one outcome, and this outcome was divided into two different cutscenes where it's like, is the murderer dead or is he not? There wasn't even an option to have him in jail, not even a third option. It was only that. And whether or not characters are alive or not doesn't matter in the fucking end. So here's the thing. In this particular game, in Detroit Become Human, the premise is that it's like Heavy Rain, but with infinite more possibilities, and every choice that you make is going to affect the world. No. David Cage, don't make promises like that, like you always did. Dude, this is not true. I can assure you, the storytelling is going to suck, because in every game that David Cage does, he has a very cool promise at the beginning. Heavy Rain, you have that murder case. You want to solve that case and shit like that. But in the end, the last 30% of the game, there's always this really, really dumb conclusion, and the story is always like Fahrenheit. You always have this really dumb conclusion where you're like, oh no, you're going this way now. In Fahrenheit, it was like, okay, we are going to have that magical powers in this game for no reason now. In Heavy Rain, it was like, oh, okay, we have a very short cutscene of the murderer of his past to show you a little bit why he's like what he is, and it was so bland. It was so bad. In Detroit Become Human, this is going to suck also. In the first trailer last year, they were showing a little bit of... you are playing different characters in this game, right? You have the one guy that you... I think his name is Marcus, that you were seeing in this year's E3's gameplay trailer, and in last year's gameplay trailer there was you were playing an android, so you are going to have multiple characters just like in Heavy Rain. And last year you just saw a little case that you had to solve with Marcus. And I thought that was fine. I think, okay, it looked a little bit like Heavy Rain, but it's going to be fucked up because David Cage. But this time they're going to show us, but there are infinite possibilities. This time you have so many options, and the world, the whole game world is going to change because of these options. No, it's not. It's fucking not. This is not a game where 90% of the game you will not see in your first playthrough because you did some different kind of choices. I don't think so. I doubt that really, really hard. And this is why this game is a fraud for me, and David Cage is a super fraud.
Let's just say, with these promises, show, don't tell. Give us a gameplay segment where you show us that you can do something like this, and don't promise it. Yes,
exactly. But this is the thing. I like the whole premise, right? I like the setting. I'm totally with you on that. I like the setting. I like the idea of the story. But it's going to be fucked up because David Cage can't fucking tell stories. You always want to make games like movies, and he has no idea what a good movie is. To be frank, so yeah.
Good. Let's move on until we have more.
Yeah. Let's move on. Okay, we had this was the last thing from this year's Sony E3 press conference, and it was finally a gameplay trailer for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a good open world Spider-Man games for years now, and with this there were a lot of interesting things, but also a lot of things that pissed me off. Okay, majorly one thing pissed me off, and that's QuickTime events. And with this scripted trailer, there was so much QuickTime events again. I was like, no, please stop with this QuickTime event bullshit. I don't want to see it anymore. I mean, the stealth gameplay looked fine so far.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always not so sure how much stealth Spider-Man should be. But then again, there have been stealth Spider-Mans even in different universes, etc. So I'm not totally against that. And so I'm still conflicted. So the bad guy of the first trailer looked kind of generic. Like, yeah, they're possessed by some kind of power, and I was like, yeah, looks, like nothing. Like, of course, it's interesting that he has kind of to work together with a kingpin. So,
Yes.
so he's forced to, because there's a new bad guy, the kingpin is in prison, and, since he's a good guy, he's always helping
I
out
really
everyone.
hope this is not going to be a major bad guy that was shown in the trailer, because he looked very generic.
No, it was implied that he's possessed by something. That's actually a good guy. Spider-Man knows, and I don't remember him from the comics right now. Maybe it's comic book character,
Yeah, me
but
too.
but it was said that you're not like this. Why are you doing this? So it's implied that he's just possessed. So he's not the main bad guy. It's just that the power and the kind of way he was possessed, didn't remind me of anything. So maybe they're trying to conceal what it is about, and it will look different in the final game when they don't have to try and hide. But, it didn't really get me in an emotional something. If it was, a character I know, I mean, the Shocker, the powers really reminded me of the Shocker. Then I would be into it. Yeah, classic Spider-Man villain. Now I'm on. And but with this, I was like, well, yeah, I know I don't care. And that's always the danger with new characters. Like, for example, the last Arkham game with Batman. They can do a new character, but in reality it's an old one. And I was like, oh, come on. You get the pure opportunity to create a new character in your gaming franchise. And in the end, it's an old character that just wears a different suit. I know I have spoiled it for you, but it really isn't a spoiler, and I don't feel bad about that.
Do you mean that
Arkham
super
Knight.
awesome twist in Arkham Knight where everyone knew from the beginning this is going to be this guy?
Yes, that's what pissed me off. But then again, the Arkham games have established their characters in 2 games before. So doing a new character was totally open because people already knew what to expect from this game. And that's always the this is always the danger with creating new comic book characters for your gaming franchise. But here Arkham fucked it up, and I think Arkham Knight was the worst game out of the 3.
Yes, me too. Arkham Knight was definitely the worst game. Arkham Knight only had one cool thing, and that was the car, and they fucked the car up, and once they fucked the car up, the game had nothing interesting to show anymore. It had no boss fights, no cool boss fights, it had nothing. Nothing. And this is why it fucked me up,
And that's what's so dangerous, because this Spider-Man game looks a lot like the Arkham games. The gameplay looks very, very similar. The gadgets Spider-Man uses, there was this one grenade he fired that stuck one of the guys to the wall. Very reminiscent of the tools you can use in Batman and the Arkham Knights. So that's kind of ticking me off. So like, it's Spider-Man. Don't copy Batman. These are 2 different characters.
No. It's not going to be a copy. I'm gonna tell you why. Here's the thing. The Arkham games, they had an open world, like from the beginning of Arkham City, and in what I didn't like about them, one thing that I really didn't like about all of them was that you had a part of Gotham where it's like, okay, this is a crime town now, and everyone is doing their bullshit, and this is not really the city. What I wanted to have is a Batman game where it's just the city, the normal city.
Yes,
and
the real
someone
city.
is calling for help, and you go there. Like, this is what this Spider-Man game is trying to do. It's going to just have the normal New York and from the comics, and no like shut in place or crime island or anything. Just have the city. And
but that has been done before, and it never really.
Of course, it has been done before. Of course, it has been done before, but it has been never done in a good Spider-Man game.
Yes, never done well.
I think it was. It was in the only real Spider-Man game that I really love to this day is the one on the first one on PlayStation 1, where it tried to have that feeling where that you can go freely.
I liked that game, but it was very flawed. It was far from perfect.
It
was buggy
flawed,
as hell.
But it had very cool cutscenes. It had kind of a free feeling because you could just how do I say that, swing around the city. You couldn't walk around the city, but you could swing around it. And you had very cool villains in it. You had Venom, you had Sandman, you had
Mysterio, the Shocker. You had almost all.
You had all of that. And this is I don't know the red guy's name again, but I forgot now. And you really cool
Carnage.
boss fights. And this is what Carnage, thank you. And this is what I want this game to be, you know? And maybe it could be that.
Yeah, but we wanted
I'm
every
sure
Spider-Man game to be that, and they have all almost disappointed. Like, I don't remember one really good one.
Raith, don't forget that this game is not a movie-based title. Finally,
yeah, but we had several Spider-Man games
that were not movie-based. And it's basically in development for years now because it was teased, and people were talking about it. Man, that Spider-Man game! Please, I want to see gameplay. And now the gameplay really looks cool. But we can't say anything against that.
Yeah, but
I mean the QTEs. Yes, I'm not a fan of QTEs also. But the way the game looked and how it's going to feel, it looks like it's going to feel awesome. And
but I just want to say, Spider-Man fans have been looking out for, I don't know, for 15 years now, and there have been a lot of Spider-Man games that are not movie-based and still sucked. And that's why you not heard much about them, because they sucked so much nobody talks about
it.
Well,
I heard about them. Yes, but these, I mean, if you look at the developers of these games, you see you instantly see where the problems lie and how much time they had on these games. And now there's a dedicated development studio that really tries to do something awesome with the IP. That's why
I'm still doubting. I have to be honest here. I've had it so long for a good Spider-Man games. And hey, let's see it positively. If it turns out good, then I never had high expectation and I have a nice surprise. You have now high expectations, and if it turns out bad, you're going to be much more disappointed than me.
Yeah,
that's how it goes, isn't it?
Well, I'm not going to be that much more disappointed. I'm just going to be like, well, I'm not okay. For the first thing I want to say, I'm not going to buy this game immediately. I'm just looking beforehand if it's any good. But from this point on, I really want this to be good. To be honest, I really want this to be good because I'm one of the guys that you mentioned that want a good Spider-Man game for 15 years now.
I'm one too.
And here's the thing, I really want this to be good, but it's not like I'm super sold on it now. I think it looks cool for what it is now. I hope it's going to have way more. It's going to play more with villains, with iconic characters,
which we haven't seen yet.
Yes, which we haven't seen yet. That's the thing, right? But I don't want to get anything spoiled.
Yeah, if we have seen one of the small time villains in this trailer, we would have a much better feeling, but we haven't seen anything of that. We have seen Kingpin in a small cell phone, and that was all.
Yes.
You know, you could have spoiled the very first one a bit, you know, showing off a cutscene with Spider-Man fighting him or something, just so we get the feeling if they are doing these characters well. But like this, I can't build up hype, because all I've seen is the Spider-Man, and you know, Spider-Man has one of the best rogue galleries of Marvel. Yeah. So not showing definitely any of them is kind of you know.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's I really want this to be good, but at the same time, how much are they going to work with the original comics and with the franchise in general? Another thing that we should mention is that this game is going to be a PlayStation exclusive.
I don't mind. I have one.
Yes, me too. But it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive, and Sony seems to be highly how do you say that? They seem to be highly
Protective?
encouraging that.
Also, okay.
Yeah, they really they really try to sell this thing off. So I think they think they have something cool, and that's what I need to see for now. That there's someone that actually. Man, my English today. That's actually proud of that product, and this is what I see in the Spider-Man game. So I have hopes.
Let's finish this with a quote.
It can go out either way.
Let's finish this with a quote from Batman. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Well, but that has nothing to do with it. Okay, anyway, let's go to the Nintendo press conference. Which was really a press conference, like always. It's always that weird Nintendo Direct, which was about 25 minutes long. Then they had after that they had Nintendo Treehouse, and they were talking about some games, and they had some little announcements that we are going to talk about also. So let's start off with a Nintendo Direct. They started off with a nice little video where they showcased ARMS again. They showcased Splatoon and how they really want this game to be played on esports. Man. And they showed us the very first new title for the Switch, which is going to be Rocket League. Hey!
A new title.
Nobody played that one before, huh? But I liked how they didn't talk too much about it and just went on with it. Because nice, Rocket League. Nobody's playing that anymore. And then we had new stuff to show. They had new stuff to show. Well, one thing they only talked about, and that was Pokemon. So when it comes to Pokemon, we had some guy from Game Freak, the director, I think, from Game Freak coming on screen, and he's like, "Hey, we're totally working on a new Pokemon RPG for the Nintendo Switch." That's all we needed to hear at this point. Okay, we don't have footage, we don't have a name, we don't have anything, but they are working on a new, and I want to quote-unquote new.
If that really is going to be new, yeah, well...
He said I knew Pokemon RPG. He didn't say Sun and Moon or an old one. He specifically said a new Pokemon RPG for Switch.
But you don't know if he's mince-minding words, because a new Pokemon game was announced that is supposedly only coming for 3DS, which are the upgrades to Sun and Moon.
Yes.
And if they
which are only coming to 3DS.
Yeah. I don't believe it. If
this is not a new RPG. This is not a new RPG.
If they're actually developing a new Pokemon RPG for the Switch, why would the other new Pokemon games only stay on the 3DS instead of both?
Because because it's just an upgrade to Pokemon Sun and Moon. So it only makes sense to bring them out on 3DS. But everything after that, like they're basically working on a new generation, and they wanna start working on Switch now.
I don't buy it.
Everything after the new Sun and Moon things for 3DS, everything after that should be Switch only. And
I tell
awesome.
you, I don't buy it. And again, don't tell. I
totally buy it because I want it.
Yeah,
I really want
but sorry, show, don't tell. Here again. You know, you may be fanboying here, but just what we criticized with many companies, show, don't tell. Just, hey, look, a new RPG is in the make, and that's all what we are telling you. Sorry, I'm going to be the pessimistic asshole here. I don't buy it. I don't buy it until it happens.
That's all I needed to know for now, because I knew they are not going to have anything to show for now, because they are still working on their Game Boy shit. And also they announced this is what they announced last week, was the Pokemon Tekken thing with new characters, so they're working on that also. But yeah, I'm honestly, I buy that. I'm so sure they're going to do that, just because of the fact that they know how many people want that, and they acknowledge that, and Nintendo is also on the side to say, hey, Game Freak, please do something for the Switch and not for the 3DS anymore, because this is the new big shit. And of course, why would they say no? So I'm so sure this is going to happen. I'm so sure this is going to happen, but I'm not sure. And this is the thing I'm a little anxious about, is I'm not sure when this is going to come out, because this is the first time they are developing RPG for a fucking home console title, which is not an easy feat to do.
It's not coming out before 2019. I tell you that it won't come out next year.
Definitely. Maybe 2020. We never know, but I'm pretty sure maybe we'll see some gameplay next year. We'll see about that. Okay, another thing that they really showed with the trailer was Kirby, and it looked okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, Kirby. I like the old Kirby games. I played some of them and I really enjoyed them, but in this particular case, Kirby games used to be a little bit harder than they are now, right?
Yeah, but who you're going to get with Kirby? You're only children that never really got to Kirby. How many of us that played Kirby as a child will still play it?
But children can have a little bit of gaming skills too, right? These games are so baby easy. It's not even a challenge.
Yeah, that's Nintendo how it has been for 10 years now.
No, that's not Nintendo how it has been for 10 years. This is Kirby how it has been for a decade now.
Yeah, but most of Nintendo games have been like that. Getting way more easy. Even the Mario games are nearly as hard as the first ones. You don't even get the option to make them hard.
I don't know what you played, but the portions I played of fucking Mario 3D World, I was struggling on the later stages, like a lot.
Well, I'm not really playing much Mario nowadays anyway. Just maybe the games my sister gets or the main titles trying out. But, remembering how hard they used to be.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's I got super serious stuck on later levels in this game. Like I'm talking like world, I don't know, really really far into the game.
Yeah, but
it's gradually getting harder.
The thing I would just want to say, many Nintendo games nowadays have become ridiculous easy. It's not just Kirby. It's you don't see Nintendo as a challenging game company anymore.
Challenging game company?
It used to be a challenging game company, and nowadays it's. And here's the thing: I even criticize Nintendo for being so unfair hard in the days back then, because I don't think it's good game design, or it wasn't good game design in many cases.
Are you talking about Nintendo only games, or are you talking about third-party titles also on the Super Nintendo?
Well, I'm talking about the games that got the attribute Nintendo hard, which often was not hard. It was just unfair.
This is a little hard now because we can't go too much into detail. But give me some examples.
The first Ghosts and Goblins, it wasn't hard.
Yeah.
It was unfair.
But here's the thing: I don't play Nintendo on that. I entirely blame that on Capcom.
Yeah, I blame it on Nintendo too. It wasn't just one game that came out.
Wait, why? Because the first Ghosts and Goblin was an arcade game, and then it got a home console release.
Yeah, but you could fix it for home. There are many home console releases, especially with beat 'em ups and versus fighters, that got additional content and were adjusted to the console.
Yeah, but no. That was at the time where Ghosts and Goblins was an arcade game. The arcade machines had way more power than the NES, so you couldn't do additional content. Really.
Yeah, but other games only too.
This was the time when you had to tone down the arcade releases so that it fits in home console releases.
Yeah, of course, but it's an attribute that Nintendo got for most of the games, not just for one. The Nintendo.
I would only go for first party titles because you can't blame Nintendo on something that another company did. Nintendo can't
I
go
can.
on every
I
game
can
and say
I
this
will.
is too hard, this is too easy.
I can and I will.
But how is Nintendo supposed to do that? I mean,
If they paid money to get
a
a game specifically made for their console, they can always adjust it. That's just my opinion.
Nintendo can't go over. Yeah, but they can't go over every game and say this is too hard and this is too easy.
No, but the most famous games they certainly can and should. I'm not a big fan of Nintendo.
I'm okay. Yeah, that's your thing. But here's the thing. I can only understand that on first party titles. Like if you said, for example, Super Metroid was way too hard or unfair, then I would be like, okay, you're crazy.
Yeah, I don't remember what games are first party titles and which ones are third party.
Well, everything made by Nintendo, which is easy. So I don't. I can tell you that. F-Zero, in my opinion, on Super Nintendo was way too hard for me. And still is, to be honest. I don't...
let's just skip it. I'm on a highly different opinion about Nintendo than you. And we're currently talking about only what they show at E3. And we said Kirby is just way too easy. Let's keep it at that.
Yes. I just think that Kirby has gotten baby easy, and I don't like that. Then there was a new Yoshi game, but it doesn't even have a name. It just looked like Woolly World, and I don't like the Woolly World titles, the Woolly Yoshi titles. Because I always have to think about, when I think about Yoshi titles, I have to think about the Super Nintendo Yoshi's Island, and I love this one.
Yeah, but that's again, isn't that the most highly rated game? Even
one of them, of course. It's in my top 10 Super Nintendo games. And I really, really love it. I played it tons of times.
How are they ever going to, fulfill the expectations you have based on that?
Because here's the thing. And I hate this because they're doing this. They're doing Yoshi, not really. They're doing Yoshi in a way that we don't really know what we wanna do with him, because we can't just do Yoshi's Island over and over again. So we do this Woolly World crap. But in this Woolly World crap, everything is super nice and funny and easy. And man, I used to think that the fucking last boss was super creepy in Yoshi's Island. There's nothing creepy in these games.
Yeah, of course you wouldn't do it. It's not family friendly. And that's the image Nintendo pushed for years now, to be family friendly.
They did push that since the original NES, but Super Metroid still scared the shit out of me. So I think they can do it if they want. And that's but now Yoshi's Island is not a thing anymore, and this Woolly thing I'm not really fond of.
But that's the thing. That Nintendo is way too family friendly. Even in the Metroid 2 remake, the colors way too bright. Super Metroid was dark as shit. It had this alien feeling, and so many games after that of Metroid looked so fun and colorful, and like it totally lost its alien feeling, which was what made Metroid so special.
Wraith, when you are starting with the 3DS Metroid 2 remake, then let's really talk about it. So they announced it in Nintendo Treehouse, and I was like, wow, finally they're doing it. Oh wow, shit, it looks like fucking bullshit. Here's the thing, I wanna like it. This is the thing, I really wanna like it because I love Metroid. I love the whole franchise. I even like the Prime games a lot. And here's the thing, we had a few months back a guy with his team made a game called AM2R, which is another Metroid remake. This guy worked 10 years on this project, and he was getting it ready. It came out. Everyone was downloading and playing it. After that, Nintendo came and said no, and he had to take it down. And here's the thing, but people still have that. It's out. Everyone could play it. You can play it 100%. It's fine. It doesn't have many bugs. And here's the thing: it's so true to the original, and it has so much more than the original because the original was a Game Boy game and it didn't have so much content. That it was so amazing. Like it just played and felt like Super Metroid, and it had its own mechanics, and it just was amazing. It was an amazing game. It was an amazing ride, and I had very much fun playing it. Then they announced this 3DS remake. And here's where the problem starts. The 3DS remake, why is it on 3DS? It looks very, very bad. The polygons look very bad. It's super colorful.
Yeah, but that's the problem with the 3DS in general. It just doesn't look that great.
This is yes, but why is this fucking game on 3DS? Like 3DS should not be a thing now anymore. And why is it not a pixel art style game when you do a remake? Like the fucking like the AM2R game. This is you're just going to criticize when you have such a good fan remake. There's no way that the actual remake. This is not needed. This game is definitely not needed, and I can't really support it. But I wanna support Metroid, and this is why I don't believe how bad it looks. It doesn't look. I when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, yes! It's cool. It's a remake." And then I saw it, and I was like, "Something is off with it, man. Something is definitely off with it." And maybe the whole game in the end is cool for what it is, but it's
you have to think
it doesn't really have. My brother came in the room, and he was like, "Man, this is not scary at all. This is not like Super Metroid where we shit our pants." And we still, and this is the thing. This is not because we were young back then. This is we played it a few years back, and we still shit our pants at fucking. My brother hates to see Mother Brain. He's scared of that fucking thing. This is, and we are grown as old men. I'm nearly 30 years old by now. So this is not an argument to say I'm just too old for it. No. I still get scared of that shit. And this is what the AM2R game did too. It had some segments where I really was like, oh man, this is creepy. This is, wow, I love this. Metroid Fusion had these moments too, right? This game is gonna have a hard time with these moments. Because they just made it way too colorful, and the soundtrack is not that fitting.
But here's the thing. This game was obviously in development for at least 2 years. So before probably. The thing was at Switch. So whoever is responsible for making it couldn't work on the Switch yet. So that's the first problem. Then again, because with the Switch now, it feels like Nintendo is trying to lose its image of family friendly. Just looking at all the games that are licensed for the Switch, they licensed fucking Senran Kagura without intending to decensoring, and Senran Kagura is not family friendly, you know. And that's one of the first games they intend to release for it. So I'm like, okay, they're trying to lose that image. And Metroid 2 had just one problem. It was announced too early. That's its major problem.
Do you think so?
Yeah, of course, because otherwise it would be made for the Switch, you know.
Oh, you mean the development began too early, not that it was announced too early. The development. Yeah, that's true. Or maybe they just could have gone for pixel art in general. Maybe that could have helped. I don't know. But let's move on to the next thing we had in Nintendo's Direct. We had a little glimpse of a trailer of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Yeah.
And
what did you think of that?
The whole reason why I won't play this, I don't have a Switch, but never mind that. When I heard the English voices, I was immediately, nope, I'm not going to play this if this doesn't have Japanese voices. I'm going to refuse the shit of it. Because this is not like Persona 5 where I just play the the Japanese version is better, but the English is not bad. So, I could play it English. I wouldn't bleed out of my ears. But with this game, I'm going to bleed out of my ears because it was fucking annoying. I hated every second where they were talking. Oh god, stop it. The main character is so terrible. Like, in this day and age, have such terrible voice acting. And it's not like they're going to change all the voice actors for the actual game. You have to stick with this shit. And so, I didn't play the first one. I think it was Nintendo exclusive.
Yeah, it was.
So, there's not much to judge by it, but of course, if a game that has a heavy part of voice dialogue and it's bleeding my ears, I can't play this game. Whether how good the gameplay is going to be.
Yeah, I think the trailer, the world that they were showing in the trailer looked really cool. It was the environments looked beautiful. The character designs are awful.
Yeah,
like holy shit, I can't. I'm sorry, but I can't. These characters look whoa. I can't take this serious. I couldn't take these characters serious in whatever they do or say.
When you have friends that don't know anime and say, yeah, that's how anime looks like, and you think, yeah, that's exactly the cliche they are going for.
Oh.
Even so, there's so many different good animes, and then, but they're only thinking about this one kind. And Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is exactly that. What these guys would think about.
That cliche, super bad anime look. Yes.
So, yeah, maybe they're customizable. I think in the first game.
No. I'm so sure they are not. You can definitely put a helmet on the heads. Yes. But this is not gonna make it much better.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on to the next thing?
Yeah.
Another thing that they showed that was I don't even want to call that a teaser. It was nothing. It was just the title. But it's going to finally happen. Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a thing. I was super happy about that. I very much look forward to that.
I just didn't care because we have seen nothing. Like, okay, nice name, but when I see nothing, I don't care. Point.
Yes, take. That's why I don't want to talk more about it than a minute. I just want to say I'm really looking forward to it. I like Metroid Prime and I'm all for it. But there's no release date and there's no gameplay. So I guess that's really it. There's not that much more to talk about. Super Mario Odyssey finally has a release date.
Before we come to Mario Odyssey, which is like the big point of this, maybe talk about Fire Emblem Warrior.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, I totally forgot. Fire Emblem Warrior is a thing. I'm not a big fan of the Muso games. I don't know how it's about.
Yeah, I think it's the same shit as Hyrule Warriors, where they could combine.
It's the same shit as every Muso game.
Yeah, but the thing with Hyrule Warriors was, I thought, hey, if you mix up that gameplay with the traditional Zelda game, you could make a really unique game. But of course, it was the same Muso shit as every time before. And Fire Emblem Warriors looks even worse because Capcom, since for years now, has never put any money into their Fire Emblem games. And if they did, it didn't look like it. Because all these Fire Emblem games look like shit. I'm a Super Robot Wars fan.
I remember... just very very quick. I remember this Fire Emblem game that I got. I think it was Fire Emblem Fates. I'm not sure. Where the character models didn't even have foots. They don't have foots. They're walking on their legs, but they don't. Oh my god, this is so bad.
and here's the thing: I always will compare Fire Emblem to Super World Wars because they have the general same gameplay mechanics, and Fire Emblem even is copying gameplay mechanics from Super World Wars nowadays. So in the last two Fire Emblem games, you have this where you can group up two characters, and they share their movements. So if you combine horse rider and a warrior on foot, their movements is to be the average. And they move differently on different grounds. And that's something that Super Warriors is doing since 2007. So they are definitely copying gameplay mechanics from from Super Robot Wars nowadays. And what I used to play some Fire Emblem games, but there's several things I really hate nowadays about it. First of all, random stat grow on level up is the worst thing that ever existed. I absolutely and completely hate it, and it should not be a thing. Because this is just randomness that decides how hard the games are. How it's possible, if you're unlucky, that you have no stat grow on level up. And to me, and people trying to, defend it like it makes it interesting every time. No, it's fucking shit. You like it because it was there for 20 years when you started with Fire Emblem. But this shit does not have a justification. It's just completely bullshit that should not exist anymore. And that's the first thing I hate about Fire Emblem right now. The second is the game doesn't...
But wait, Wraith, weren't we talking about the Warriors game? Because
we're coming to it. We're coming to it.
No, but the thing, like random level up and shit, that's
they,
not...
They do have a level
Fire
up
Emblem Warriors.
system. They do have a levels up system in Fire Warriors.
But does it really matter in a Muso game? You just click that button and everything explodes. I mean... Who cares? I mean, in a real Fire Emblem game, yes, this is bullshit. But in a Muso game, you don't care about leveling up.
But
let's be real here.
We're coming to the next point is how this.
Okay, you just want to rant about Fire Emblem. I get that.
Yeah, not only, but this is just the pinnacle of what Capcom does wrong with Fire Emblem. And the next thing I dislike is how all these games never develop. They're always same in the same kind of middle-aged fantasy setting. And this game too, it's the same garbage fantasy setting I don't want to see anymore. With characters...
Wait, this in Fire Emblem Warriors, it only makes sense to be in this setting because the games that they originate from are in this setting. So you can't do a Muso game of a game with a whole different setting. But that you just can't do that. You need to agree on that because it just doesn't.
Because
why?
Because the mobile game already does it. It summons Fire Emblem heroes from all different worlds, which also annoys me.
Yes,
but that's another point.
But you can't do that in that Muso game where it's for that one franchise. Like say let me say this really quick. I take JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I take all the characters from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and I put them in the sci-fi universe in the year 2200 whatever. Just doesn't work. For a Muso,
it does work because one JoJo game does it. Not to that extreme, but the second CyberConnect game have all these characters in an original story mode travel through different times.
Yes, through different parts of the manga, not to any made-up bullshit worlds.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they could just make it a few hundred years later, and because this is a time travel setting, is the only thing to explain all of these together. Meaningful anyway.
Yes, of course. I get where you're coming from, but this is the thing. If I did a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Muso game and I put all these characters in a whole different world from not even the manga, from not anything, in a whole different setting, then this people would be like, hey, why didn't you just use the fucking setting that they come from? This is not like there's no explanation to that. There's no reason for that to do that.
But then again, the second JoJo Connect game has done that. It has two different settings. It had the original.
No, Wraith. No, it didn't. Wraith. They took the characters, yes, and they put them in different settings, yes. But the different settings were from the manga. They were from the parts. They don't go into some.
They had another game where they had two different timelines. where they
I
revived
know.
the dead. I don't know which
I
one it
know,
was.
I know, but these are still in the context of the manga. They don't the worlds that I'm only talking about the places, right? I'm not talking about this is the thing. I'm talking about putting characters in something completely different where they don't make sense. Or they no, where you wouldn't normally put them. That's what I mean, you know? And this is what the Fire Emblem Warriors game, of course they have the whole same setting as the games do, because it doesn't try the Musou games don't try to be to take the characters to completely different grounds.
I disagree. I would think
wait. They're not trying to get them to completely different grounds, only to other gameplay mechanics, and these Musou gameplays.
Yeah, but a game that did put the characters in a different setting was, for example, like it or not, Final Fantasy Dissidia, which puts the characters into different settings.
Yeah, but only in the context of the games. In Final Fantasy, every game is a different setting, right? And in Fire Emblem, it's not. So that's why you can't do that in Fire Emblem. In Final Fantasy, it works because the games are like that. In Fire Emblem, it doesn't work because the games aren't like that.
Yeah, and that's criticizing for years. It's that every Fire Emblem has the same shitty fantasy setting. And it's not moving on at all.
You can't really
I can and
say anything.
Point taken.
Yes, but here's the thing: you can't. There's no point in making that argument in Fire Emblem Warriors, because what are Tecmo Koei gonna do about it? They can't. This is not in their possibility to just.
They just want money and they do the shit to get it. I mean, that's all what these Musou games are about.
Yes, of course.
The only exception is, which came out this year, is Fate Extella, which also is going to be released on the Switch, where you have actually a story mode. I mean, the gameplay is still the same as any other Musou games, but it actually got an additional story. It's something new that stretches out the story from the Fate extra games, which were for PSP. So it actually does something additional. The gameplay is the same as any Musou games, really, with a few minor differences. So, but at least that has an additional story mode. So I don't feel like.
Well, I'm not trying to defend Fire Emblem or the Fire Emblem Warriors game, but I think in some cases Tecmo Koei in some cases they just couldn't do some bullshit with the franchise, because they were limited to the games that they come from.
And here's the funny thing: Fire Emblem has one game that is completely different, because when it teamed up with Shin Megami Tensei, they made Mirror Sessions, or I don't know.
Yes, but that's a spin-off, right? That's a spin-off. That's not a really. It doesn't belong to the mainline franchise.
Yeah, but that's the thing, you know. Just that existing means, okay, Nintendo has been convinced to do other things with it.
Yes. That existing means that you can have a stage that plays in a different world. Yes, that's totally justifiable. But the rest you can't do. You definitely can't do. When you are on Tecmo Koei's and you are just saying, hey, I really want to go a different setting, then people on your development team are like, yeah, we can totally do that with that Shin Megami Tensei stage. We can have a stage from that, but we can't really do much.
I'm just tired of all this Musou shit that doesn't do anything really. And you even have Project Cross Zone.
This is I don't like the Musou games, because these are 2-hour games that you borrow for 2 hours. This is only you just random mash buttons, win and watch some cutscenes, and that's it. These games are not they are not how do I say this? They are not enjoyable. To be honest, they are not enjoyable for longer than 2 hours. They're just mindless button mashes. Whatever, if it's the Berserk game, if it's the fucking Fire Emblem game, if it's Hyrule Warriors, who fucking cares? These are all the same. They play the same and they do the same. and they all want $60. So fuck you. This is stupid. This is super stupid.
And here's my thing: you could make these Muso games more interesting if you mix them up with other gameplay elements. That's what Hyrule Warriors. I'm not a huge Zelda fan, but I would actually be interested to play it if they actually mixed the gameplays, because there's a lot of features from the normal Zelda stuff you could have added into the game, and it would be much more interesting. But of course they didn't. So. Yeah, I'm honestly tired of Muso games.
I know. I just saw the trailer and I almost thought.
And I'm also
because it's another Muso game.
And I'm also tired of what the way Fire Emblem is currently taking. Extremely tired, actually. And this is just two concepts mixed up that are so extremely boring and annoying currently. I just want a Fire Emblem game that takes place in a bit more futuristic, not in the,
I don't know, the thing,
not in the scientific, but just move on from the Middle Ages to, I don't know, something that's not the same.
I hope you get that. I hope you'll get that someday.
I won't.
Not sure.
I won't. The shit is still selling good, so no, I won't.
But yeah, let's just move on to the next thing, because while Fire Emblem Warriors we have talked now a lot about, and it's not going anywhere. It's just another Muso game. Zelda Breath of the Wild is getting some DLCs. Woo! We knew that already. And Super Mario Odyssey has a new gameplay trailer. But this is the thing. We knew about Super Mario Odyssey. We knew what it's going to look like. We know how it's going to play like. So I don't want to talk too much about it. Now it has a release date. It's the 27th October, 2017, which is fine. It's before Christmas. Okay. I'm gonna, of course, play that game. I'm looking forward to it, but I don't want to talk too much about it. If you have anything to say, you can. But
I haven't been into Mario for years now, so I'd say it definitely looks like an evolution from the previous one. So I get why people want to play it. Never mind the non-existing story, but it's Mario. Whatever suits your needs. But it just makes me angry that we never got another Wario World.
Oh yeah, Wario.
I want an adult-rated Wario World, a new one. I much more loved Wario Worlds than any of the Mario games. I played the third one several times, and I loved the humor that Wario has. And now with the age of Deadpool, I really wish they'd do a Wario game that is more adult-rated, because the character would allow for it. Let's be honest.
It would be awesome. But when I'm honest, yes, it would be awesome. I would totally play that.
It's not going to happen. Not if they only if they really switch their image, which we have to see. But it just makes me sad remembering that Wario exists but is not used.
Yes, he's only used in fucking sports titles and shit.
Yeah.
And party games, but his standalone games are going nowhere.
So, and now we have the title for this podcast: Bring Wario back, Nintendo.
Bring Wario back, Nintendo. Okay. And with that being said, I'd say
we're done. We're done with this boring E3.
We jump onto the conclusions, and I think this whole E3 was not as strong as last year's, and it was some titles went missing. Of course, we knew about that beforehand. Death Stranding, we knew about beforehand that Kojima was saying no, he's not going to show anything because he doesn't have anything, like always.
And so hard because you can't trust him. It's always possible that he gets
I told
something
you. Raith, I told you beforehand, this is what he did on Metal Gear Solid 5 too.
But Metal Gear Solid 5 was
actually
a special
he
case.
actually had nothing, and in this particular case, when he says he has nothing, I was so sure. Yes, I'm so sure you don't have anything, because man, I wouldn't be surprised if he's still not sure what the kind of game this is going to be, and I I didn't even want to talk about. I'm a little bit happy that Stranding didn't make an appearance, because if it was just going to be another trailer without gameplay, then I don't want to even talk about it anyway, because this game, for me, it doesn't really exist. There's nothing. There's a little movie from last year where Norman Reedus is shitting out a baby or anything like that, and there's some dead wells. I don't give a fuck about that, to be honest. This game, it can be anything by now, and
the thing is,
if there's no gameplay, then there's no game.
They built up hype with Silent Hill Hills, which everyone wanted, but we didn't get because Konami is an idiot.
Yes.
And so the game has
I think
the hype, and they're kind of using the hype. And they're taking their time, and that's cool. If they get the chance to take their time with the game, it's cool. I get why you are annoyed with it, if there's nothing to show. But it's not hurting anyone, and at least it's
not hurting anyone. But
special.
I'm just tired about talking about games that aren't games yet, and Death Stranding is not a game yet. And with that said, I think the whole E3 was rather. It was okay, but it didn't really have.
Okay is a nice word. I think it's fucking boring compared to last year.
Yeah, it's really boring. Compared to last year, it's really boring. Yes, it was boring. The PC gaming show was awful. Like, wow, they didn't have anything, and there were some press conferences I thought were a little bit weaker than last year's. Especially Sony, because Sony, we knew about all these titles that are not going to come out this year, that are of course going to be shown again this year. That's why Sony didn't have that much new stuff to show.
Yeah, but let's just say, considering what they put out last year, how much could they have? New stuff. How much can you do in that 1 year? So.
That's the thing, right? When you have all different kind of titles where they are not come out next year, we are of course gonna see them next year, and then there's not going to be so much surprises. Yeah, so many surprises. Yeah.
So on that side, everyone's saying Nintendo saved E3. I don't know. It were most of these titles were expected, and there wasn't really that great. And if you count Fire Emblem Warriors as something that's saving E3, then I don't think the E3 is way worth surfing.
I'd say Nintendo was okay. I'd say they at least talked to the fans. They said, yes, we acknowledge, and we saw you wanna have Metroid Prime 4, here it comes, and you wanna have a Switch Pokemon title, here it comes. And then on the Treehouse they had a lot of Mario Odyssey to show, which was cool, and that's really it. They responded for once, and I think that's what the people are acknowledging, and letting them know that it's okay, that finally there's something, and finally they have a new console, which the first E3 with the new console is actually bringing some more titles, not like the fucking Wii U. So it's okay. So I think Nintendo was okay, but saving, no, I can't say they saved E3. This is way too much.
Yeah, no. With that being said, I can now look forward to the Tokyo Game Show, because it can hardly be more boring than the E3 this year.
Oh, it can, my friend, it can. But we'll see, yes. So, see you next time, guys. That's a podcast. With me here was Raith, at Fluffy Raith, and I'm Sammy. I was Sammy.
You was?
I'm Sammy. I'm Sammy, and on Twitter, at SunsettoLaw. See you next time, guys. Bye. Adios.